Let me tell you something. Life is not about standing still. If you wake up the same person tomorrow as you were today, you're wasting a day. Every single day you've got to get up with a mindset of improvement. Every single day you have an opportunity to grow, but that growth starts with what you feed your mind. Learning something new daily isn't just a good habit, it's a necessity if you want to improve yourself. The world is constantly changing, and if you're not learning, you're falling behind. Knowledge isn't just about sitting in a classroom or reading a book. It's about staying curious, staying open, and actively seeking out information that can make you better. Now, let's get something straight. Learning doesn't always have to be a big, life-changing discovery. It can be something small. Maybe it's a new word, a new strategy, a new way of thinking, or even a mistake you made that taught you a lesson. The key is to stay intentional about it. Too many people go through life operating on autopilot, doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, and never stretching their minds. That's why they stay stuck. The most successful people in the world are always learning. They read books, they listen to wise people, they study those who've already done what they're trying to do. They know that one piece of information can shift their entire mindset. That's why you have to make learning a daily priority. Listen to a podcast while you drive. Read a few pages of a book before bed. Watch a video that teaches you something useful. Pay attention to conversations because wisdom often shows up where you least expect it. Your mind is like a muscle, and if you don't exercise it, it gets weak. Learning stretches you, challenges you, and opens doors that staying ignorant will keep shut. The more you learn, the more valuable you become, not just to yourself, but to the world. People who refuse to learn will always work for the people who do. If you don't invest in your mind, you limit your potential. The difference between where you are now and where you want to be is often just the right knowledge, and you'll never find it if you're not looking. Growth never happens in comfort. If you keep doing the same things every day, sticking to the same routine and avoiding anything that makes you uncomfortable, you will never evolve. Comfort zones are dangerous because they make you feel safe while keeping you stuck. You might think you're protecting yourself from failure, but in reality, you're blocking yourself from opportunity. The most successful people in the world got to where they are because they took risks, tried new things, and embraced challenges instead of running from them. Fear is the biggest reason people stay in their comfort zones. Fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of not being good enough. But here's the truth. Every single successful person you admire was once a beginner. They were nervous, they doubted themselves, they failed plenty of times. But the difference is they kept going. They leaned into discomfort instead of avoiding it. That's where real growth happens. Trying something new doesn't have to mean making a huge leap. It can be as simple as speaking up in a meeting when you normally stay quiet. It can be introducing yourself to someone who intimidates you or applying for an opportunity you don't feel 100% ready for. The point is to challenge yourself in ways that stretch you. Each time you do something uncomfortable, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. And once you push past that initial fear, you realize that most of the limits you believed in were just in your head. The people who never step outside their comfort zones are the ones who look back on life with regret. They stay in the same place, watching others grow and wonder why nothing ever changes for them. But the ones who push themselves, who take the risk even when they're scared, they're the ones who level up. They gain new skills, meet new people, and open doors they never even knew existed. The moment you get comfortable with discomfort, your entire life starts to change. The difference between the people who succeed and the ones who stay stuck is simple. Effort. Every single day you have a choice. Stay where you are or push yourself just a little bit harder than you did yesterday. Growth isn't about giant leaps all at once. It's about consistent, intentional effort. If you ran a mile today, run just a little farther tomorrow. If you studied for 30 minutes today, go for 35 tomorrow. That extra push is where progress happens. Most people stop at good enough. They do just enough to get by, just enough to stay comfortable, and then wonder why they never get ahead. The truth is, nobody ever became great by doing the bare minimum. You don't get stronger by lifting the same weight every day. You don't grow by repeating the same routine without challenge. If you want something better for your life, you have to be willing to demand more from yourself. The key is to compete with who you were yesterday. That's the only person you need to be better than. Pushing yourself isn't always easy. Some days you won't feel like it. Some days your mind will come up with every excuse possible to slow down, take a break, or settle. That's when discipline has to step in. You have to stop waiting for motivation because motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Discipline is what makes the difference. It's doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Growth happens in those small daily decisions. It happens when you stay up an extra 15 minutes to work on your goals instead of watching TV. It happens when you choose to go to the gym instead of making an excuse. It happens when you wake up a little earlier, work a little harder, and refuse to let yesterday's effort be your limit. The people who win in life are the ones who understand that every day is an opportunity to get better, and they take full advantage of it. Most people underestimate the power of consistency. They get excited about improving themselves, start strong for a few days, and then give up when they don't see results fast enough. But real success, real growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens through small, consistent actions repeated over time. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's the ability to keep going even when progress feels slow. Think about a drop of water hitting a rock. One drop won't do anything. 10 drops won't make a difference. But after years of steady, consistent pressure, that water carves through solid stone. That's how success works. It's not about one big effort. It's about showing up every single day, doing the work, and trusting that those small steps will lead to big results. The problem is, most people quit before they see the breakthrough. They get impatient, they tell themselves it's not working, but the truth is every bit of effort adds up, even if you don't see the results right away. Consistency builds habits, and habits create transformation. When you commit to something daily, it stops being a struggle and starts becoming a part of who you are. The first few days of waking up early are hard, but after a while it becomes automatic. The first few workouts might feel exhausting, but stick with it, and soon your body craves movement. Success is nothing more than the sum of your daily habits. The people who achieve their dreams aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to stop. They show up when they don't feel like it. They put in the work when no one is watching. They understand that one great day won't change their life, but 1,000 consistent days will. Small progress done over and over creates unstoppable momentum. The key is to stay committed, trust the process, and keep going even when it feels like nothing is happening. That's when the real transformation begins. One of the biggest reasons people don't grow is because they give themselves too many options. They wake up and decide whether they feel like working out. They debate whether they should put in extra effort at work. They negotiate with themselves about whether today is the day they'll finally start that project. That back and forth, that hesitation is what keeps them stuck. If you want to improve yourself, you have to stop making growth optional. It has to become non-negotiable. Think about it. Successful people don't ask themselves if they feel like being disciplined today. They don't wait for motivation to show up. They have already made the decision that growth is part of who they are. They don't let their emotions dictate their actions. If it's time to work, they work. If it's time to grind, they grind. There is no discussion, no hesitation, no escape plan. It's just what they do. Most people fail because they leave too much room for excuses. They say things like, I'll do it when I have more time, or I'll start next Monday. But there's never going to be a perfect time. There's never going to be a day when you suddenly feel 100% ready. Growth happens when you do the work before you feel like it, when you show up, even on the days when you'd rather take it easy. If you give yourself an option to quit, at some point you will take it. If you leave a door open for laziness, you will walk through it. That's why the best way to guarantee progress is to take quitting off the table completely. There should be no plan B when it comes to your personal growth. You don't ask yourself if you're going to do it, you just do it. When you eliminate the option of backing out, you train your mind to push through discomfort. You stop wasting time on whether you should take action and start focusing on how to get better every single day. That's the mindset that separates the successful from everyone else. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Too many people go through life hoping they're getting better, but never actually tracking their progress. They start working on a goal, but because they don't see immediate results, they assume nothing is happening. That's why so many people quit before they ever reach success. They don't realize that small wins add up over time. If you want to grow, you have to measure your improvement every single day. Think about an athlete. They don't just train blindly and hope they're getting stronger. They track their times, their reps, their endurance. They compare where they were last month to where they are now. That's how they know they're getting better. The same applies to anything you want to improve in life. If you want to be in better shape, track your workouts and what you eat. If you want to save more money, track your spending. If you want to develop a new skill, track how many hours you put into it. Progress isn't just about effort, it's about awareness. When you start tracking your growth, you begin to see patterns. You realize what's working and what's not. You stop relying on feelings and start making decisions based on facts. Some days you might feel like you're not improving at all, but when you look back at where you started, you'll see how far you've actually come. That's what keeps you motivated. Success is not about making giant leaps. It's about taking consistent steps in the right direction. And the only way to know you're moving forward is to measure it. Most people avoid tracking their progress because they don't want to face the truth. They don't want to see the numbers on the scale, the balance in their bank account, or the reality of their habits. But facing the truth is the only way to change it. When you measure where you are, you take control of where you're going. You stop living in guesswork and start living with intention. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you take full ownership of your progress.